partners here present, civil society organizations, members of the press, and all our protocols duly and respectfully observed, good morning to you all. It is with so much honor, excitement, and gratitude that I deliver this speech to this honorable House as we witness this symbolic occasion, the first ordinary session of the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia for the year 2022. I am somewhat delighted to have been elected as Speaker of this August Parliament, a position I seek to steer with utmost dedication, commitment, fairness, and sacrifice to lead and live up to the expectation of the young people of our dear motherland. I want to congratulate all of you honorable members of the National Youth Parliament for being duly elected and nominated as National Youth Parliamentarians, tasked with the mandate of representing the voice of young people of our lovely country. I pray that Allah the Almighty eases the execution of the task ahead of us and give us the opportunity to give a new face to the strive in the promotion of youth participation in governance and decision-making processes. This new dawn would therefore give us the opportunity to critically assess the status quo of young people and as well the laws, the policies, and the initiatives that govern young people. As such, I am pleased to inform this August Parliament that in this session, we will discuss and debate on key matters confronting the lives and welfares and interests of young people of our dear motherland. It is paramount to note that the journey towards this glorious moment was not an easy one. It was marked with endless sacrifice, dedication, and perseverance as we took up the commitment to deliver to the young people of the Gambia a new face of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia, in terms of representation, operation, impact, and influence, siphoned through what we called the Reformation Agenda, which gave birth to a new constitution and standing orders, management manual, and financial manual. By this, we're able to capture representation of each constituency in our country, maintain a gender balance through the inclusion of nominated women representatives, and most importantly, secure the inclusion and participation of persons with disabilities. We therefore call on the government of the Gambia, through the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the National Youth Council, partners and donor agencies, to not let the new spirit of youth involvement in governance die. We call on these important institutions to nurture, support, and guide the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia to strengthen its capacities and operations in the quest to provide the best of leadership and the administration of the rights of the young people of the Gambia. Whilst we anticipate these sittings, we want to wish you all a happy 20th anniversary of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia. We wish to thank the founder of this great institution, Honorable Sambujang Conte, who is with us here today, and his co-founders for their wisdom in giving birth to this legendary establishment, and all the leaderships and memberships of the National Youth Parliament before us, for safeguarding the mandate, dignity, and value of the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia. Without doubt, this institution has graduated the best of leaders who are demonstrating their leadership capabilities in high institutions. This includes in the government, in the National Assembly, non-governmental organizations, just to name a few. We want to thank all partners that have supported us since the birth of the NYP to date. In conclusion, please permit me to express my sincerest appreciation to all the youth parliamentarians for your endurance, sacrifice, and cooperation towards bringing this aspiration to a reality. I wish to seize this opportunity to give special thanks to the UNDP the Gambia for supporting this important cause, for uplifting the voice of young people of the Gambia and for laying a strong foundation in the promotion of good governance and democracy. This occasion would not have existed without your invaluable support. You are indeed the champions of the issues of young people. We want to sincerely thank the National Assembly membership and leadership for providing us all the support, facilities, and guidance needed to reach this great milestone. We are saying a very big thank you to you all. We want to express as well our utmost thanks to the National Youth Council through the leadership of Mr. Alhaji Jaju for giving us the required foundation for the realization of the reformation agenda, much especially en route to the validation of our reformation materials. Obviously, every tree has its roots, and we cannot forge ahead without thanking the Honorable Minister and as well Minister of Youth and Sports for their continuous guidance and collaboration in our quest to improve the welfare of the youth of the country. We want to believe through partnership with your ministry, we will deliver to the young people their aspirations. We want to thank the drafters of our very fundamental reformation documents, without which we would not have been here today. With all this support received, there is without doubt that we are not alone, and we are not lonely in our strive to improve the status quo of the young people of the Gambia. We thank everyone here present for attending this auspicious occasion, and we pray that we have a successful session with the interests of the youth standing in the highest towers, smiling to the world for being given the most due of considerations. Thank you all. Clerk, you may proceed.
Statements. Introductory remarks by the Deputy Clerk, Admin and Finance of the National Assembly, Mr. Buba Jada.
Honorable members, at this juncture, I want to invoke Clause 29 of the Standing Orders of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia, to allow, as per our order paper for today, the following personnel to deliver statements to this August Parliament. Honorable members, please be reminded that after the statements are delivered, no questions, comments, concerns raised will be entertained. May I now call on the Deputy Clerk, Admin and Finance of the National Assembly, who is also deputizing for the clerk to deliver his statement to the Parliament.
As we said here in the National Assembly, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. As clerks, we don't have space to make statements here, but today I'm given the honor for these few minutes to make a statement here. First of all, I want to welcome you all on behalf of the clerk, the Honorable Speaker, and the leadership of the Assembly, and first of all to congratulate Honorable Speaker for being elected as Speaker, and honorable members both nominated and elected. On behalf of the leadership, as I said, I wish you all a successful tenure. And as Honorable Speaker, you rightly said, you are not alone. We here at the National Assembly, we value youth, and that is why we provide you all the necessary support, and so that you exercise your duties as representatives of the various regions. The National Assembly, here we have an open door policy. We are always ready to work with youths, especially the National Youth Parliament. Over the years, we have been providing the support, as the Honorable Speaker rightly said, and hosting this event in the National Assembly, and we will continue to do so to ensure that youths participate in the national development. In our bid to ensure youth development and support, we currently accommodating over 100 interns from who are composed of youths from the University of the Gambia, and these interns will work with our honorable members and our various departments to assist and to learn how the Parliament functions. We are happy that young people are ready to take up the challenge in terms of charting your own destiny. And as I said, we as clerks, our role is just to announce agendas. I will not make statements in Parliament, but I want to say that as we proceed to discuss issues or matters affecting youths, we hope that at the end of your deliberations, you will come up with the concrete resolutions that will champion or advance the cause of youths. And before I conclude, I want to thank, as the Honorable Speaker rightly said, UNDP. It's no surprise to us. UNDP has been supporting the National Assembly, so in supporting the National Youth Parliament is indeed not a surprise to us. We thank you very much for the support, and we hope the cooperation and the partnership will continue. On that note, I wish you all a fruitful deliberations in the coming few days. On behalf of the clerk, once again, I welcome you all and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Clerk. Clerk, you may proceed.
Statement. Official opening remarks to be read by the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members of the House, Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports, Country Representative UNDP, Founding Father of the National Youth Parliament, Honorable former Deputy Speaker, partners, and colleagues from the civil society here present, ladies and gentlemen, and all other protocols duly observed. I am Degen Diop, the Deputy Speaker of the Youth Parliament. Exactly 1 year, 7 months from last year today, the National Youth Parliament called on Congress to elect its 9th Executive Council. 5 young enthusiastic leaders emerged to steer the affairs of the Youth Parliament for the next 3 years. With the leadership of Honorable Omar Cham, we build on efforts and exemplary work of our predecessors, make it paramount in our governance and development plan to reform, rebrand, and replenish the National Youth Parliament, for it to serve its intended purpose to the fullest. Today, 20 years from its formation, we have before us the first inaugural sitting with constituency representatives and inside the National Assembly chambers. We take this opportunity to celebrate the journey to NYP at 20. The journey was and continues to be worthy in working to represent the voices of the young people of the Gambia. In conformity with the objective and principles of youth participation and involvement in national development and decision-making as envisaged in the Constitution of the Gambia 1997 under Section 26. Today, on behalf of the Speaker and the whole House, we welcome each and every one of you as a symbol of appreciation to your contribution and the NYP journey. Welcome to the inaugural session of the 9th Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Clerk, we may proceed.
Statement to be read by the resident representative for UNDP, the Gambia.
Good morning. Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Vice Chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, Honorable Minority Leader of the National Assembly, Honorable Minister of the Youth and Sport, Honorable Member of the National Assembly here present, Honorable Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, Member of the National Youth Parliament, Your Excellency the British High Commissioner, Your Excellency the EU Ambassador, representative of civil society organizations, member of the media, and all members of the National Youth Parliament. Congratulations again, Honorable Speaker, and all members for this, I would say, historic session after 20 years of existence. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Member of Parliament, it gives me a great pleasure to deliver these remarks during the inaugural session of this sitting of the National Youth Parliament in the Gambia. In the next couple of days, youth parliaments gathering here will discuss issues that are of great concern to the nation, such as illicit drug trafficking and trade, the social media issues, social issues, migration, climate change, education, health, and the consolidation of democratic governance in this particular global context that we all know. And also just moving from, just still also dealing with the unprecedented COVID pandemic. With increasing demand for civic engagement and accountability and transparency for all over the world, this youth parliament provides a strategic opportunity to enhance participation of young Gambians in the political discourse. I congratulate the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly leadership for inviting this young August Assembly to deliver on such important matters here in this great hall. And I am very honored to be here with you this morning. This is not only a strong demonstration of your commitment to the principle of transparency, but also an inspirational setting of young parliamentarians to deliver and strengthen their commitment to public service. It is important that in addition to increasing your knowledge on parliamentary institutions, that you also indicate the habits of discipline, tolerance for the views of others. Within the legislative environment and in the age of social media, the need to always act with decorum cannot be overemphasized. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable member of the parliament, in young democracies, in this national democracy like the Gambia, young people play a critical role in shaping the politics and the future of their country. The youth parliament allows Gambian young people to learn about the parliament, but also engaging with their local representatives and the entire political system. Furthermore, positioning youth at the center of decision-making is critical to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, gender equality, and social justice. In the Gambia, empowering young women to become leaders across all domains, from the community to the parliament, will be transformational for the country. And we salute the fact that out of the 64 members of the National Youth Parliament, 30 are female, and we hope that this will be an inspiration leading to the local elections, because it can be also the future of the Gambia in terms of parliamentary representation, because we still know that we are facing huge challenges in getting there in terms of women's representation. While as UNDP is particularly proud to sustain its partnership with the Office of the Clerk in ensuring that all youth participation and voices can be heard at national decision-making platforms, UNDP is fully committed to expanding its partnership to strengthen women's leadership in the National Assembly. It is our sincere hope that the government, civil society, and development partners, and we are very also delighted to be a member of the Friends of Parliament with the British High Commissioner and the EU and other partners which are also members in supporting it, but also other sister agencies like UNICEF, UNFPA, and WFP, you name it. So it's a whole entire family, UN family, that is engaged together with the development partners in supporting the National Assembly. And we will continue to join efforts toward empowering young people, particularly young women, in leadership. Honorable Member of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from UNDP, let me reassure you that our doors remain open and we will continue to support the capacity strengthening of the National Assembly and the young people of the Gambia with a view towards consolidating democracy and good governance in the Gambia and in pursuit of the sustainable development goals. We look forward to the outcome of these sittings, and I would like you to please accept the assurance of our continuing commitment, and I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Resident Representative UNDP. Clerk, you may proceed.
Statement on the NYP experience. Now invite on the former Deputy Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia, Honorable 𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, with your permission, may I be allowed to stand on the existing protocols? First of all, I want to congratulate all the elected, nominated members of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia. I also want to thank the National Assembly for this wonderful initiative that is supporting the National Youth Parliament, which is a representative of the young people of this country. I want to thank the former executive where I belong, because I am really happy that I am seeing what we have recommended when we were leaving office. The current Youth Parliament are our predecessors, and during our speech, that is our farewell speech, we recommended that one of the things that we couldn't do, and it was really part of the things that we wanted to do, is to reform the National Youth Parliament, because we realized that the structure of the National Youth Parliament needed to be like that of the current National Assembly, because if you come to look at it, it's like an imitation of the National Assembly. First of all, my experiences or our experiences as members of the Youth Parliament, it was really great, but yet a daunting task to serve people, especially young people of this country. However daunting it was, it is an honor, and it would forever be an honor to have represented my country and the young people of this country. It was challenging because it is not easy to work with young people and human beings in general, but the experience was great because we were able to impact lives, we were able to form connections with international partners and donors. We were also able to meet stakeholders in government and discuss key issues affecting young people in the country. And the National Youth Parliament is one of the oldest leading youth advocacy group that has been always advancing the interests of young people, not only young people, but the interests of the society in general. We have been advocating on areas of human rights, good governance. We have been advocating on issues of environmental protection, road safety, and youth and reproductive health. These were issues that the Youth Parliament was taxed because of the current, the previous constitution that they were using. However, we couldn't advocate for everything because you cannot do everything. But we want to thank the partners for helping us get to this level. I might be not part of the Youth Parliament anymore, but I still find myself as a member of the Youth Parliament, and I am always proud of the work that they have been doing. The Youth Parliament have been advocating across the country, and they had representatives in all the regions. And I believe that is why it will not be difficult to transform the Youth Parliament to have members from all the constituencies. During my experience as a member of the Youth Parliament, one of the greatest things that I have learned is the ability to work with people, the ability to collaborate with people, and also, most importantly, I also learned that as a member of the Youth Parliament or as an organization or a youth representative body, we are seen as partners and we complement the efforts of government and the effort of stakeholders. So these are things that I have learned, and I believe my colleagues learned the same. And also the Youth Parliament too taught me how to interact with people of different faiths, because we have been doing a lot of advocacy on political tolerance and religious tolerance, especially during or after the impasse. So all these things would teach us that we need to see the Gambia first before anything. In conclusion, or my final remarks would go to the young people of this country. We are the young people of this country, I would always say. We are not the future leaders, but we are current leaders. So we shouldn't sit and fall back to say that government is going to do everything for us. We have to take the bull by the horn. We have to sit, debate on issues that affect us. We come up with position papers, or we come up with recommendations and tell government these are some of the things that we believe are affecting us, because as the saying goes, he who knows it feels it. So we are the young people and we know better. Let the young people of this country be more responsible to take their destiny in their own hands. And we want to thank also the National Assembly immensely, and I hope you will continue to support this new initiative to ensure that we only don't have these youth parliaments leaving to pursue other careers like myself, but you would have some of them are coming back to serve as members of the National Assembly, because by then they would have been equipped with so much of how procedures operate in the National Assembly, and they will be aware of some of the issues that are affecting the young people and the people in this country. I want to thank everybody for your kind attention, and I am grateful for the honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable former Deputy Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. Clerk, you may proceed.
We have a statement on the history of the National Youth Parliament by the founding father, Honorable Mr. Sambujang Conte.
Good morning to you all. Honorable Speaker of National Youth Parliament, Deputy Speaker and the Clerk of National Youth Parliament, members of the National Youth Parliament, Cabinet Ministers here present, National Assembly members here present, Your Excellency, members of Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representatives from international organizations here present, members of civil societies, youth leaders, media personals, all other invited guests duly and respectfully observed. I am delighted to be invited to this inaugural session, the 20th anniversary and the national sitting of the National Youth Parliament. As founding father of the National Youth Parliament, I am very much happy to be invited to give a speak on the history of the National Youth Parliament, experience and lesson learned. First and foremost, I must thank Allah for giving me the health and strength to witness this beautiful 20th anniversary with you all. Honorable Speaker, I have no educational background. I have never been to school for formal education in my life. I never faced blackboard in my life. I was a painterman by professional at the Public Works Department, PWD in Kerawan, North Bank region. I later joined IOGT as a volunteer from 1975 to 1982 and worked as a field coordinator, working on my foot from village to village in order to do advocacy on harm associated to drug and substance abuse, including tobacco use, early marriage, unwanted pregnancy, and baby dumping. Honorable Speaker, through this advocacy with IOGT, as a volunteer, I was promoted to position of the project coordinator for both Forward and IOGT. As a project, Forward is on the project on the IOGT at that time, which I successfully run, becoming the country coordinator and national chairman of both IOGT and Forward. Even though in 1986, I secured a scholarship to do the short course on development study at 𝒂𝒊𝒏 College in Birmingham, England, where I got certificate in development study covering social, economic, political factors of development and the role of non-governmental agencies in development process. I was dismissed as a country coordinator for IOGT because committee claimed and did want I call a pre-planning resolution that says for anyone to be the country coordinator of IOGT or Forward must have a formal education and school leaving certificate like a diploma, master's, or other high certificate. They all know that I do not have even primary school certificate, primary school leaving certificate. But during my stay in office as a country coordinator, I represent both IOGT and Forward in all the grand negotiations, either in Sweden or Norway at that time. And all the grants, all the presentation I have done in Sweden and Norway. So that document, like a project proposal, what I table with our donors, they always approve it. Honorable Speaker, Shortly before I was dismissed in 1992, I was invited, alongside with the social workers, politicians, civil society members, and business sectors from West Africa to attend the conference in Lisbon, Portugal, by Geopolitical Drug Watch, a network of journalists that had its headquarters in France. The Geopolitical Drug Watch was subcontracted by European Union to conduct a research on drug production, trafficking, and consumption in West Africa. I was the only delegate from Gambia. For the time we shared the report, they make recommendation that effect. In that meeting, the key recommendation was to have a network for drug demand reduction advocacy in West Africa. This was seen as a way forward combating drug production, trafficking, and consumption in West Africa. The delegates were grouped into two groups. One Francophone, one Anglophone. But we have more Francophone than Anglophone. Then the delegate from the Francophone has more delegates than us. That's why, if you look RAID is French acronym, African Network for Information and Action Against Drug. We adopt the recommendation came from the Francophone, because when we voted for the name, they are more than us, then we accepted. Then, in addition, the delegates were tasked with the responsibility to establish this network in the respective countries within the 6 months. So they have given us a responsibility with because all the West African delegates, so we are lucky to have all the countries are represented in Portugal. And they have given us a responsibility. Each of the delegates, when you go back, you need to make this network, African Network for Information and Action Against Drug in your country. I was only one that successfully established this network called RAID the Gambia in entire Africa. In addition, when we are invited again for a review meeting in Paris, I was elected as a regional coordinator for RAID in West Africa by the Geopolitical Drug Watch Committee. Honorable Speaker, after my dismissal, I formally established RAID the Gambia in 1993 as an NGO with special focus on drug and substance abuse, prevention, and education. RAID extend later for their intervention to HIV and AIDS, early marriage, unwanted pregnancy, illegal migration, tobacco control, and the role of youth in national development. RAID now is household name in the Gambia with the global recognitions by the United Nations and WHO. In 1998, the United Nations International Drug Control Program released the form to all NGOs that has their addresses in United Nations NGO directory. In addition, they have identified 20 NGOs that are to be fully funded by the United Nations, represented NGOs in the United Nations Special Session on Drug from 8 to the 10 June 1998 in New York. RAID was lucky to be fully funded by the United Nations. During that meeting, the NGO committee also met to share their individual experience, because 100 NGO attended that special session. But UN funded only 20 NGO across the world. They have given opportunity to another 80 NGOs who can able to fund their own representative to the UN. Then the total number we represented in New York, so it's 100 NGOs. Then those 100 NGOs, they created a forum for us to meet and share our experiences in our work on drug demand reductions. I met somebody called 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏, who was the coordinator of European Youth Parliament. He briefed me on his experience to support the European Youth Parliament and the role of the Youth Parliament globally. And that is why I picked up the idea to establish the Youth Parliament in the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, upon my return from New York in 1998, I started my consultation with various youth groups about the objective and the role of Youth Parliament at the national development and globally. I explained the process and the importance of creating credible youth organizations that will represent the voice of young people and operate as an independent entity. After 4 years of my consultation with various youth groups, and then I will extend my sincere gratitude to the RED volunteers and the regional officers, because they support me a lot. Our RED volunteers and coordinators in LRR, URR, NBR, CRR, West Coast Region, KMC, and Banjul. The support staff of RED with the financial support from National Aid Secretariat under the leadership of 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏. We were able to do all the consultation and groundwork. Honorable Speaker, if National Youth Parliament is a human being, RED the Gambia will be the mother of that institution. Honorable Speaker, the National Youth Parliament was successfully launched on the 8th of March 2002 in Kerawan, North Bank region. And the dignitaries that were invited were Mr. Karamo Kante, the Health Education Unit, Mr. Kunkunjobate, PEO Region 3, Mr. Malam Fofana, DFT Farafenye, Mr. Mamadou Kassama, WHO Country Office, and Mr. Bakari Fati of GRTS. Those are the first invited guests Gambia Youth Parliament are invited. About 50 youth leaders across the country attended that launching in Kerawan. And after official launching, the delegate identified leaders for themselves in the position of Speaker, Deputy Speaker, Clerk, and Deputy Clerk. On the 9th of March 2002, they had the first sitting, where Honorable 𝒂𝒊𝒏 was confirmed as a first Speaker and his deputy, and Mr. Umar Diba was accepted as a clerk and his deputy clerk. Then the session continued. However, the following day, when they identified their leaders for themselves, I congratulate the newly elected parliamentarians in the position of Speaker and Deputy Speaker, Clerk and Deputy Clerk. It was a very fruitful day. The objective of the Youth Parliament was discussed, including the mission and the vision statement, the membership, the committee, the function and activity of the Parliament, regional and the national setting, all those topics are issues are discussed. And the partners and the stakeholders were all discussed by the National Assembly members themselves. Honorable Speaker, after this first sitting of the National Youth Parliament, I continue to reach out to different stakeholders and inform them about the existence of the Gambia National Youth Parliament. I have 3 consultative meetings with the Speaker, 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔. I have a 3 consultative meeting with him. Later, he identified Deputy Speaker, Honorable Belinda Bidwell, to be our focal person in the National Assembly. The National Youth Parliament had its first engagement with the National Assembly of the Gambia on Wednesday, 10th July 2002, to brief them about the objective and the mission of the Gambia National Youth Parliament of the Gambia. The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly welcomed the young parliamentarians at the National Assembly chambers. He gave a very beautiful statement, an encouraging statement. And on that day, they offered them 10 tickets for each of their sitting, so that National Youth Parliament can send 10 people to listen to the discussion of the National Assembly. My commitment, together with your commitment, 100 staff and volunteers. The technical assistance of individuals such as Mr. Lamin Nyabali, former Secretary General and Head of Presidential Affairs, and Honorable Khalifa Sallah, National Assembly member of Serekunda. On that time, they give me quite a lot of technical support, because at any sitting, I always invited them, and then they participated, and then they trained young parliamentarians. Honorable Speaker, the second sitting of the National Youth Parliament was held at the Girl Guide Association from 28 to the 30th April 2003, funded by WHO. In the second sitting, the debate was centered on how Gambia National Youth Parliament will achieve their objective as a parliamentarian. After the second sitting, I still continue with consultation with partners like a National Youth Council as an umbrella body for youth organization in the Gambia. We had a discussion for several times with the leaders of National Youth Council to recognize Gambia National Youth Parliament as a National Youth Parliament organization with the independent entity in the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, every successful story had a challenging moment. The National Youth Parliament was rejected by National Youth Parliament was rejected by the National Youth Council, because they said that before they recognize it, so we have to go back to conduct the elections in all the region of the Gambia, and all the youth organizations should be participated, and all the youth group. And after that, then on that very moment, there's no resources for National Youth Parliament to conduct their regional conferences or regional congresses, or neither for national one. That is the condition the National Youth Council requested. But thank God, with support of Royd staff and the UNFPA. On that time, we have resources from UNFPA, but their interest area is sexual and reproductive health. Then I have an obsession with the Issa Kamara, the former leader of the UNFPA. He gave me approval because our program was 3 days in every region, and then I should have 30 youth leaders across the region. So, and then training should be 3 days. He had given me 2 days to deal with the sexual and reproductive health, and the last day we can have youth parliament issues. And then, thank God, at that point, I must acknowledge and send the special salutation to the former speaker, former IEC chairman, 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒏𝒆𝒍. I went to his office and discussed with him, and he authorized his regional representative to participate in our regional elections, and then they do show. So the last day, we have IEC people to come over. And the national one also, then we have done that election at the IEC headquarters. So then I have to extend my best wishes to 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏, his support he has given during the struggle. Mr. Speaker, based on this commitment and dedication, regional election was conducted in all the region, and later the national election was also conducted in IEC head office. By Honorable 𝒂𝒂𝒏 was re-elected again as a national speaker. Mr. Umar Diba also re-elected as a national clerk. So their deputy has been changed, but these two leaders are re-elected by the national youth parliamentarians. However, despite being accepted, the National Youth Council at that time, this national later I submitted the recommendation from the National Youth Parliament and how the election was conducted by IEC. Then the National Youth Council accepted to recognize National Youth Parliament as an independent entity. However, even to accept as a National Youth Council acceptance by that time, the National Youth Council and the National Youth Parliament has quite a lot of problems because they have seen each other as the opposition. Because we received an email from the United Nations, because we have a mission here from New York. Population Commission Secretariat has a high-powered delegation. They came to visit Gambia, and then during their stay in Gambia, I think they have 5-6 days in the Gambia. So we have made an appointment to have a meeting with the Gambia National Youth Parliament. After their meeting with the Youth Parliament, they were very impressed about the performance of the Gambia National Youth Parliament. In their report, they sent a copy of their report to the African Union Commission. The Commission has seen the report was written by New York office. They consulted me during the OAU in Gambia, in Second Republic. What they requested was they want to sponsor some youth parliamentarian in African region so that during the OAU summit in Gambia, so Gambia youth parliamentarian can have a discussion with other youth parliamentarian in Africa. So, but pulling and pushing started. Gambia youth parliamentarian thought that obviously later was sent to the Gambian Youth Parliament. But Youth Council is a parent body. So who will receive the guest? It was pulling and pushing. So I have to intervene. We missed that opportunity because we don't want any problem. But now, thank God, the Gambia National Youth Parliament are working with the Gambia National Youth Council hand in glove. That problem was resolved. As founding father, I intervened to discuss and resolve, but I didn't write back to the African Union to send a delegate. So they couldn't able to send any other parliamentarians during the OAU summit in Gambia. The third sitting of the National Youth Parliament was held on the 23rd December in 2003. It was a one-week program. This also done in conjunction with celebration of Red 10 years anniversary. The guest speaker of the third session was Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport, Mr. Samba Fall. During his speech, he challenged the youth parliamentarians to emulate me as a founding father because I do something weak. He is well educated. He cannot able to do it. He just pleased me. Samba Fall has done something which will be remain in the history of Gambia. I further challenge the youth parliamentarian to be hardworking and sacrifice for the youth for this country. Today, equally challenge you all to be committed and work hard for development of this nation. Mr. Speaker, I must thank the critical partners and donors like UNAPA, WHO, UNESCO, National AIDS Secretariat for the support of the National Youth Parliament to stand as an independent entity 20 years today. So I have to thank those people because during the difficult time, they stand by me, they support you, all the activities and what you want to do, they always support the Parliament to forge ahead. In conclusion, I would not do justice if I do not extend my salutation to the people who supported me and worked very hard with me day and night to see this youth parliament fully established and functional, such as Honorable Mbaye, first speaker, Honorable Lamin Bojang, second speaker, and Omar Diba, first clerk, and by Sedi, second clerk, and entire members of the youth parliamentarian at that time. I cannot call all the names in this speech, but my mind will always be with you forever. Mr. Speaker, Umar Cham and the clerk, 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔, an entire member of the National Youth Parliament, if there is any experience and lesson learned you have at the past 20 years, commitment, hard work, dedication, persistence, honesty should be way forward. You have to be honest. Honesty is way forward. Gambia will lack honesty. Honesty is way forward. Please be honest, be hardworking. Thank you. May God help you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Founding Father. I could not believe you could start for that long to deliver the speech. We appreciate you. And we are very sorry that you were rejected by the National Youth Council at the time. I'm very happy that such has been resolved as we are like the babies of the National Youth Council. We are very honored to have that cordial relationship and collaboration and partnership. Thank you so much. And we're saying a very big thank you for your contribution to the National Youth Parliament, and may Allah grant you long life and good health. Clerk, we may proceed.
We have a statement, keynote address by Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, Mr. 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏
Good afternoon. The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔, Clerk and staff of the National Assembly, the United Nations Resident Representative, Madam Ase today, the Honorable Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, the Deputy Speaker, Clerk and National Youth Assembly members, His Excellency, the British High Commissioner, His Excellency, the EU Ambassador to the Gambia, Mr. Samba Nyankwante, founder of the Youth Parliament, the National Assembly members who are present here today, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Master of Ceremony, it gives me a great joy to join young people from across the country on this very important session dubbed the 9th Parliament, which marks the first ordinary session of the National Youth Parliament for 2022. The National Youth Parliament, NYP, as known to many, has been one of the oldest existing youth associations that, despite the challenges of running youth-focused organizations in the country, they continue to recruit, nurture talents, and build skills of young people from all social backgrounds and regions of the country. It is for this resilience and continued quest to empower young people to play their role in national development that us at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, through the National Youth Council, never hesitate to collaborate with them in our common goal of raising awareness about issues confronting young people, build capacities of the young people, empower communities, and advocate for the participation of young people in political and governance processes. Before I continue, Mr. Speaker, I wish to congratulate you as the newly elected Speaker and your deputy, as well as all the other young people who have been elected at the constituency level and have taken an oath to serve their constituencies and serve the young people of the Gambia. It is a daunting task that out of almost 60% of the population, you are the ones that have been elected or nominated to represent all the other young people. But I believe that you have the spirit, you have the talent, and you have the commitment to do your best during your term as members of the Youth Parliament. Let me assure you that as a ministry and government in general, we will continue to engage with you as much as necessary and further strengthen our collaborative work in all areas of concern to our youth constituent that we professionally and voluntarily serve. We will continue to engage and listen to you. This is an undeniable right that you have as youths of this country, and a duty that we as public servants have towards you and the people that you represent. Honorable Speaker and members of the Youth Parliament, as you start your 9th parliamentary sitting, I wish to remind you that despite the limited in numbers, you are representing one of the key, or in fact the most important sector of our society, and that is the youth. And while your resolutions might not be binding on government and stakeholders, they go a long way in giving the policymakers ideas about the major concerns of the youthful population of this country. Beyond the resolutions, the ordinary session is an opportunity that gives young people a platform to voice out their concerns in a free and democratic space. It is therefore important that all of you present here and participating in the ordinary session take it serious and, of course, be realistic in your submissions and your arguments. The clerk, who is the master of ceremony, I am of the conviction that the 9th Parliament will create avenues in which its honorable members will have their skills built in different areas and knowledge enhanced in various topical issues, especially those related to social, environmental, and emerging phenomena. I know for a long time we have done a lot of work in areas of political participation and peaceful coexistence, raise awareness on harmful nature of tobacco, safety in motor and road traffic, among other issues. However, I want to challenge your leaders to, while building on the previous gains, do more work in the area of drug abuse, climate change, and livelihood skills acquisition. From all indications, these 3 issues are among the major challenges confronting our young people today, and thus deserve concerted efforts from government, UN agencies, and youth organizations like the National Youth Parliament. The Ministry will take the lead in this and has, among other ongoing ventures, been doing so through the National Youth Service Scheme, which today has more than 300 young people undergoing 2 years livelihood skill development training in different institutions, through the apprenticeship training program and the COP members' regular program. The National Youth Council, as you might have already heard, is always ready and willing to collaborate with the National Youth Parliament and other like organizations in the country. PIA, which is the President International Award, and the National Enterprise Development Initiative, called NEDI, all under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, are all engaged in different youth empowerment and advocacy work. But it is obvious that government institutions alone cannot be able to achieve what we all want to see happen in the young people. It is therefore the responsibility of civil society organizations like yourselves to approach the Youth Council or NEDI or NYSS to partner. As a ministry, we will be there to provide the oversight responsibility and continue to work with you as we all endeavor to reach out to every young person in every constituency, every community, and every village in the Gambia. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable youth parliamentarians, the leadership of this country recognizes the crucial role young people can play in all the areas of our socio-economic development. It is in this backdrop that His Excellency President Adama Barrow never hesitates to appoint or endorse the nomination of several competent young people to serve in different capacities within the local and central governance system of the Gambia. Notwithstanding, as a former active youth worker myself, and one who at some point in my life spent close to 2 decades in the position you are today, I want to preempt that you will want to see more young people occupying space. And yes, I align myself with you on that. We need more young people in leadership roles at the local government, at the central level, but even in our National Assembly and other places where political decisions are made. But most importantly is the fact that we need more young people in our informal sector and in the economic activities of the country, This is the surest way to ensure Gambia take and control our economic activities. These are awareness-raising and advocated points that we should include in our discussion in this chamber and after this session. Beyond the key issues, the session will expose our young parliamentarians who are here from their different constituencies to the democratic principles and parliamentary procedures at an earlier age. This can prepare you for the future roles that you might have in your future endeavors, including becoming members of councils and members of the National Assembly and other different roles. Before I conclude, allow me to thank the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and other agencies and other UN agencies for not just supporting this session of the National Youth Parliament, but many other projects that the youth sector in the country continue to do. The Ministry is appreciative of the strong collaboration we continue to share with the United Nations Office in Banjul. I wish to also extend appreciation to the Honorable Speaker and the leadership of the National Assembly of the Gambia for the long-standing relationship between the National Assembly and the National Youth Parliament. I want to once again to assure you, the young people of this country, that us at the Ministry are always willing to listen to you, are always willing to take your concerns on board and work with you and other stakeholders and other ministries within the government cycle to ensure we do our best to address the concerns that you have. At this juncture, I wish to declare the 9th Parliament and Ordinary Session of the National Youth Parliament officially open and wish you a fruitful deliberation. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, our Honorable Minister of Youth and Sports. Clerk, we may now proceed.
Statement. The inaugural statement to be read by the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔.
Thank you, Clerk of the National Youth Parliament. The Honorable Minister for Youth and Sport, Honorable 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏, the Honorable Minority Leader of the National Assembly and members of the National Assembly here in present, the Deputy Clerk, Admin and Finance and staff of the National Assembly, the United Nations Development Programme country representative, our dear sister Assata Dey, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, the European Union Ambassador to the Gambia, and other members of the diplomatic communities here in present, founding father of the National Youth Parliament, Alhaji Sambujang Conte, my respect to you, the Speaker and members of the National Youth Parliament, the clerk and support staff of the National Youth Parliament, other agencies that are partners to the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia, and friends of the National Youth Parliament. On behalf of the National Assembly, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, both sides of the National Assembly, and Clerk of the National Assembly, I want to welcome the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and members of the National Youth Parliament, both elected and nominated, and congratulate you for your assumption of office and welcome you to this August Assembly. The National Assembly, on behalf of the Speaker of the National Assembly, we want to assure you of our unwavering and commitment support to the welfare of the National Youth Parliament and youth of this country. While you take this daunting task of being the Youth Assembly of the Gambia, where you discuss pertinent issues to the welfare of young people, of which government through the Ministry of Youth and Sport will take seriously in helping to shape government policies as they relate to youth of this country. It is a common say that the youth are the future leaders. But of course, I am among those who dispute that fact, that youth are leaders of today and tomorrow. It is until we think that way that we will not be able to commit ourselves to the daunting challenges that lay ahead of us. And as a government and as a people, we must be committed to that cause. Because the young people, once you have a highly trained and skillful youthful population, you are assured of a responsible and responsive adulthood who will serve the purpose of humanity. It is against this background that the leadership of the National Assembly over the last 2 decades committed to supporting and helping the National Youth Parliament. There are a lot of collaboration effort that we did with partners to this august body. 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏, I remember 2007, 2008, when I was a member of the National Assembly, we had at the time worked tirelessly in ensuring that we allow members of the National Youth Parliament to use the chambers of the National Assembly when we are at the old building there. The Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly has asked me to assure you that the National Assembly will continue to work with you. And as the Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly indicated earlier on, as we speak, we have members from the University of the Gambia who are here training on internship for parliamentary procedures and processes. And as a young parliamentarian, your role is to learn how Parliament make laws and, of course, debate their processes and procedures that will help to mold you and shape you, so that when we become this leadership of the National Assembly and country to young people, you, of course, among them, you would have been in the right footing, and you would have gathered enough experience and enough training as to how you will discharge the affairs of the National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia when that is committed to your charge. And of course, you will also aspire in a few years' time, or the next generations, will be your time to be presidents, vice presidents, chief justice, speakers of the National Assembly, and head of institutions. So therefore, it behoves on every citizen of this country to redouble our effort and join Uncle 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏 and the development partners to inculcate a sense of responsibility, sense of ownership, sense of patriotism, and sense of nationalism in young people. So that when you lead this country, you will move it to where it is to stand the test of time. Therefore, as members of the National Assembly, we welcome you sincerely and urge you in your deliberations and in your dealing in your capacity as members of the National Youth Parliament and in your privacy as citizens of this country to uphold the mantra of which Uncle 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒏 indicated: sincerity, commitment, devotion to duty, and that you must know that this country belongs to all of us, and your contribution, my contribution, his or her contribution collectively together we will move this country from where it is to a level of which, when we bequeath to the younger generations, our sons and daughters would have bequeathed a country of economic prosperity, development, and attainment of the aspirations and welfare of the Gambian people. On that note, while commending all of you, and I want to reassure you of our commitment to building a Gambia for all of us. As we speak, the leadership and the government of His Excellency President Adama Barrow is committed to embolden and broaden the democratic dispensation of this country, where all of us as citizens, irrespective of our political affiliations, irrespective of our ethno and religions and or regional background, will be equal to the services of this country. The President is committed to building this country for all of us to enjoy. And on that note, I enjoined all of you to be responsible, to be disciplined, and to continue to search for knowledge. In so doing, you will be able to take leadership today, not only tomorrow, but today. We have young people in the country who are members of the National Assembly. We have very young people who probably as young as some of you are. We have young people as members of cabinet, members of the bench and the bar. We have young people in senior and middle management in every sector of governance in this country. The hope is that all of us will be able to serve our borderland. On that note, I wish to, on behalf of the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, wish you fruitful deliberations, and you will come out with resolutions that will help government to reshape and redirect the young people of this country. On behalf of 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍, I declare this session open, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. We thank you very much. Please extend our sincerest thanks to the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly and His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. And please do forward our message that we'll continue to count on their support and collaboration in delivering to the young people their aspirations. Clerk, we may proceed.
Motion, be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and adopt the new official logo of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia. By Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia.
Any seconder?
Honorable Speaker, I hereby support the motion.
I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded by this Honorable Parliament that the new logo of the National Youth Parliament be adopted. If you're in support, say aye. Aye. If you're not in favor, say no. The ayes have it.
Honorable Speaker.
Clerk, you may proceed.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Speaker, you may proceed with the unveiling.
The technicians, if you can kindly help us display the logo.
Clerk, we may proceed if the technicians are not set.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, you may please continue. The technical room is having some problems.
But can I go on with the description?
Yes, you may go ahead with the official law unveiling.
Okay, thank you very much once again, everyone, and to our partners and colleagues present. We're having a bit technical difficulties, but we would like to present to you the new NYP logo. As you can see displayed on the screen, you have NYP and spell it out, National Youth Parliament, and you have the Gambia with our national flags on it. The font type that is used in the development of this logo and also the colors is to make sure it embodies the values, the spirit, and what the National Youth Parliament represents. And as a result, the NYP, as we can see, is the font type healthy vicar because it's bold, clean, and assumes to be neutral. And as a National Youth Parliament, in our mission to serve young people, in our vision to represent the voice of the young people, that is the position of neutrality we want to take, that is the position of boldness that we want to take, and that is the position of youthfulness that we also want to take. And if you look at the colors, it is blue, but it is not the same blue. We have two.
Sorry, Honorable Deputy Speaker. If you could please do this from your seat, we can continue.
No problem.
Yes, thank you. You may continue from your seat. Yes, that's what we mean.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Point of order. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Point of observation. Okay, thank you. I was just writing to put to the notice of the Deputy Speaker to be on her foot while addressing Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Yes, thank you very much to the technicians. And as displayed, as I was saying, we have the combination of the blue color, but of different color codes. On top we have the cobalt blue, and down we have blue tranquil. First, the cobalt blue just entails the enlightenment and also the authoritative nature of the National Youth Parliament, and the tranquil blue, represents our reliability, orderly, and youthfulness. And then we have the Gambia and our national flags to represent our national coverage and our national representation of the National Youth Parliament and the representation of the voices of the young people. So partners, colleagues from civil society, and everybody here present, you have before us the new logo of the National Youth Parliament as part of our reformation process. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Clerk, we may proceed.
Motion, be it resolved that this August Parliament do recognize partners and former members of the National Youth Parliament, the Gambia, by Honorable Member of 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍.
Honorable Speaker, I, Honorable Member for 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏𝒆𝒍 constituency, hereby move a motion that we recognize our partners and former members. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Any seconder?
Yes, Honorable Speaker. I, Honorable Omar Mba, Member for Fonjaro constituency, rise to second the motion to recognize the good work done by our previous governments at the National Youth Parliament.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do recognize our partners and former members. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor say no. The ayes have it. Therefore, honorable members of the House, upon the naming of the following institutions and the former members of the National Youth Parliament, I would like to call on the honorable members to give a standing ovation accompanying with the clapping through our tables to these very important personnel who have contributed towards what we are having today. And the list goes as follows. The UNDP, the Gambia, the International Republican Institute, UNFPA, the Gambia, the British High Commission, the National Democratic Institute, the National Youth Council, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the National Assembly of the Gambia. Former members of the National Youth Parliament that have served in executive positions. Honorable Fatou M. Jao, former Deputy Speaker. Honorable Lamin Dabul Sane, former clerk. Honorable 𝒂𝒄𝒏𝒔, former Speaker of the National Youth Parliament. Also in the recognition list are the former regional speakers and their executives of the National Youth Parliament. Honorable Omar Ba, former Speaker for West Coast Region. Honorable Amadou John, former Speaker for Banjul. Therefore, I call on this Honorable Assembly to give a standing ovation to these wonderful institutions and personnel for their great contribution to what we have today. Added to this list is Honorable Baba Waidavo. Thank you. You may resume your seat. On that note, may I now put the question, be it resolved that this August Parliament do stand adjourned until Tuesday, 30th August 2022. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes therefore have it. This assembly now stands adjourned until Tuesday, 30th August 2022 at 10 a.m. sharp.